Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the USS Defiance and watched the stars through the main window. The ship was huge, bigger than any human vessel ever built before. Its black metal hull stretched for 2 miles in every direction. Strange blue lights ran along its surface, pulsing like a heartbeat. Jake had been captain for only 6 months, but he knew this ship was different. The Defiance was not like the old human warships that fought in the Centauri Wars. Those ships were built with guns and armor built to fight like humans always fought. The Defiance was built with alien technology that humanity had captured and studied for 10 long years. "Captain, we have a problem," said Lisa Barnes. She was the chief engineer, a small woman with short brown hair who knew more about the ship's systems than anyone else alive. Her voice was calm, but Jake could hear worry in it. "What kind of problem?" Jake asked. Lisa walked over to him with a data pad in her hands. "Long-range sensors are picking up something big, really big, about 3 hours away from the Kepler mining colony." Jake took the data pad and looked at the numbers. His face went pale. 300 ships, 312 to be exact. Lisa said all of them match Vorthon Empire design Walrus vessels. The bridge went quiet. Everyone knew what that meant. The Vorthon Empire had been humanity's worst enemy for 20 years. They were tall, gray aliens with 4 arms and black eyes that showed no mercy. They ate other species for food and turned captured worlds into farming planets for their endless hunger. Human colonies had been burning under Vorthon attacks for decades. "Get me Admiral Carter," Jake said to his communications officer. The main screen flickered to life. Admiral Sam Carter appeared sitting in his office on Earth. He was an old man with white hair and scars on his face from the early wars. When he saw Jake's expression, his own face became serious. "Captain Morrison, what's your status?" "Admiral, we have a Vorthon fleet moving toward Kepler colony. Over 300 ships. The colony has maybe 50,000 people and no real defenses." Admiral Carter was quiet for a long moment. "Captain, our nearest fleet is 3 weeks away. The Mars battle group is still repairing damage from the last fight. You're the only ship in range." "Sir, it's 1 ship against 300. It's not just any ship, Captain. It's the Defiance. The quantum lock drive has been tested in simulations thousands of times. The weapon system's passed every trial, but we've never tested it in real combat." Jake looked around his bridge. His crew was young, most of them in their 20s and 30s. They had trained for 2 years on the new systems, but none of them had ever faced a real enemy fleet. The biggest battle any of them had seen was a fight against space pirates with maybe 10 ships. "Admiral, what if the quantum lock system fails? What if we can't control it in battle?" Admiral Carter leaned forward. "Then 50,000 people die, and the Vorthon Empire moves 1 step closer to Earth. Captain, this is why we built the Defiance. This is the moment we've been preparing for." The screen went dark. Jake turned to look at his crew. They were all watching him, waiting for orders. He could see fear in some faces, excitement in others. Lisa Barnes stepped up beside him. "Captain, I need to tell you something about the quantum lock drive," she said quietly. "The simulations were good, but real space is different. When we activate the system, the ship will exist in multiple dimensions at the same time. We'll be here, but also somewhere else. Maybe 17 different places at once. What does that mean for us? It means enemy weapons can't hit us because we're not really here. But it also means our weapons can hit them from angles that shouldn't exist. We become like a ghost ship that can still fight." Dr. Alex Wong walked over to them. He was the ship's quantum physicist, a thin man with thick glasses who had helped design the drive system. "Captain, there's something else. Once we activate quantum lock in combat mode, there's no going back until the fight is over. The system locks itself to prevent accidents. We either win or we die trying." Jake nodded slowly. He walked to the captain's chair and sat down. The leather was new and still smelled like the factory where it was made. He pressed a button that connected him to the entire ship. "All hands, this is the captain. In 2 hours, we will engage a Vorthon fleet that outnumbers us 300 to 1. I won't lie to you. This will be the hardest fight any human has ever faced. But we have something they don't. We have technology they can't understand. We have the quantum lock drive." He paused and looked out at the stars again. Somewhere out there, alien ships were moving toward innocent people who had no way to defend themselves. The Vorthon Empire thinks humans are weak. They think we're just another species to be conquered and eaten. Today we show them they're wrong. Today we show the galaxy that humanity doesn't just survive. We win. Jake closed the communication channel. The bridge was quiet except for the soft hum of the ship's engines. Lisa Barnes was already working at her station, preparing the quantum lock drive for combat. Dr. Wong was checking the weapon systems. The rest of the crew moved to their battle stations. In 2 hours, the USS Defiance would face the largest alien fleet in known space. One human ship against an empire that had conquered 47 different species. Jake Morrison had never felt so afraid or so ready to fight in his entire life. 2 hours later, the USS Defiance dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the Kepler system. Captain Jake Morrison watched the main screen as hundreds of alien ships appeared in front of them. The Vorthon fleet looked like a cloud of dark metal insects floating in space. Each ship was twice the size of old human warships, covered in spikes and weapon ports that glowed red in the darkness. "My God," whispered Lieutenant Commander Rick Stone, the weapons officer. He was a big man with strong hands. But now those hands were shaking as he looked at his control panel. "I count 312 enemy vessels. All of them are armed and ready to fight." The largest Vorthon ship sat in the center of the fleet. It was massive, almost as big as a space station. Strange symbols covered its hull, and Jake knew this was the command ship of Warp Prime Tekkel, one of the most feared Vorthon leaders in the galaxy. "Captain, they're trying to communicate with us," said the communications officer. "Put them on screen." The main display changed to show the inside of the alien command ship. Warp Prime Tekkel stood in the center, a giant creature with gray skin and 4 powerful arms. His black eyes stared at Jake with the cold look of a predator studying its prey. When he spoke, his voice was deep and full of hate. "Human Captain, I am War Prime, the Zool of the Vorthon Empire. You pilot one small ship against my great fleet. Surrender now and I will kill you quickly. Fight me and I will make your death last for days." Jake stood up and walked closer to the screen. He had seen pictures of Voran aliens before, but this was his first time talking to one. The creature was even more frightening in person, but Jake kept his voice steady. "Warp Prime Thule, I am Captain Jake Morrison of the USS Defiance. You are moving toward a human colony with innocent people. Turn around and leave this system or we will stop you." The alien leader made a sound that might have been laughter. "You will stop me. One human ship against 300 of mine. Your species has always been foolish, but this is beyond stupid. I have destroyed entire human fleets. I have burned your colonies and eaten your people. What can one ship do?" "You're about to find out," Jake said. He cut the communication and turned to his crew. Everyone was at their battle stations now. Lisa Barnes was standing at the engineering console, her fingers dancing over controls that managed the quantum lock drive. Dr. Alex Wong sat at his science station, watching readings that showed the space around them in ways human eyes could never see. "Lisa, are we ready?" Jake asked. "All systems are green, Captain. The quantum lock drive is stable and waiting for your command." "Rick, weapons status." "All weapons ready, sir. Quantum torpedoes loaded, plasma cannons charged." "But Captain, even with our new weapons, 300 ships is a lot to handle." Jake sat back down in his captain's chair. Through the main window, he could see the Vorthon fleet starting to move toward them. The alien ships spread out in attack formation, their red weapon ports glowing brighter as they prepared to fire. "All hands, this is the captain. In 30 seconds, we're going to activate the quantum lock drive for the first time in real combat. Hold on to something." Jake looked at Lisa Barnes. "Do it." Lisa pressed a series of controls on her panel. The ship began to vibrate softly at first, then stronger. The lights on the bridge flickered and changed color, shifting from white to blue to something that had no name. Jake felt strange, like he was in 2 places at the same time. "Quantum lock drive activated," Lisa announced. "We are now existing in 17 different dimensional states simultaneously." The main screen showed something impossible. Jake could see multiple versions of the Defiance ghost ships that were there, but not there. Solid but transparent. The alien fleet looked confused. Their sensors were probably going crazy trying to lock onto a target that existed everywhere and nowhere at once. War Prime. Tekkel's voice crackled over the communication system. "What is this trick? What have you done to your ship?" "No trick," Jake replied. "Just human technology that you can't understand." The Voran fleet opened fire. Hundreds of plasma cannons and missile launchers sent death toward the Defiance. Jake watched the enemy fire approach on his screen. Streams of red energy that had destroyed countless human ships in the past. But the energy beams passed, right through the Defiance like it wasn't there. The ship existed in multiple dimensions, and the Vorthon weapons could only hit targets in normal space. Jake felt the ship shake slightly as some shots hit other versions of the Defiance in different dimensions, but the main ship remained unharmed. "Impossible," came the voice over the radio. "Our weapons passed through your ship." "Rick, return fire," Jake ordered. Lieutenant Commander Stone pressed the firing controls. The Defiance's quantum torpedoes launched from tubes that existed in 17 dimensions at once. To the Vorthon fleet, it looked like the torpedoes appeared from empty space, coming from angles that made no sense. The first torpedo hit a Vorthon destroyer, but because the weapon existed in multiple dimensions, it also hit 6 other ships at the same time. 7 alien vessels exploded in balls of fire and metal, destroyed by a single shot that somehow struck multiple targets. The Vorthon fleet panicked. Their tight formation broke apart as ships tried to avoid weapons that came from impossible directions. War Prime Theazul was shouting orders, but his captains couldn't follow commands when they couldn't understand what they were fighting. "Fire again," Jake said. The Defiance fired its plasma cannons. The energy beams split across dimensions, hitting 12 enemy ships from angles that shouldn't exist. Vorthon vessels exploded or drifted away with critical damage. Commander Beth Collins, the tactical officer, was watching her screens with wide eyes. "Captain, this is incredible. We're hitting them from 17 different positions at once. Their shields can't adapt because they don't know where the next shot is coming from." In less than 5 minutes, the USS Defiance had destroyed or damaged over 30 Vorthon ships. The alien fleet that had seemed so powerful now looked lost and afraid. They were trying to fight an enemy that existed in multiple realities, a ghost ship that could touch them but couldn't be touched in return. War Prime's voice came over the radio again, but now it sounded different. For the first time in his long career of conquest, the Vorthon leader sounded afraid. "What are you?" Captain Jake Morrison looked at the chaos on his main screen. The Vorthon fleet was breaking apart. Ships that had flown in perfect formation for decades, now scattered in all directions like frightened animals. Some were trying to run. Others fired their weapons at empty space, shooting at ghost images of the Defiance that weren't really there. "We are human," Jake answered. "Warp Prime Thul's question, and you picked the wrong species to hunt." The alien leader's face appeared on screen again. His black eyes were wide with something Jake had never seen in a Vorthon before. Fear. Real deep fear that made the powerful alien's voice shake when he spoke. "This is impossible. No species has technology like this. We have conquered 47 worlds. We have fought races with energy shields and plasma weapons and space-time manipulation, but nothing like this. You exist in places that do not exist. Call for help if you want," Jake said. "Bring more ships. It won't matter." War Prime did exactly that. Jake watched on his communication monitors as the alien leader sent emergency signals across space. The messages went to every Vorthon battle group within 50 light years. Jake could hear the panic in the alien's voice as he described the impossible human ship that could not be hit and struck from nowhere. "Lisa, how are our systems holding up?" Jake asked his chief engineer. "Lisa," Barnes checked her readings carefully. "The quantum lock drive is working better than we hoped, Captain. It's like the system is learning from each battle, getting stronger and more stable. We're now existing in 19 different dimensional states instead of 17. Dr. Alex Wong looked up from his science station with excitement on his face. "Captain, I'm reading something incredible. The quantum field around our ship is expanding. We're not just existing in multiple dimensions anymore. We're starting to control them. What does that mean?" "It means we can do things that should be impossible even for us." Before Jake could ask more questions, his tactical officer spoke up. Commander Beth Collins was a calm woman who never got excited about anything, but now her voice was full of amazement. "Captain, I'm detecting new ships entering the system. Looks like War Prime's call for help worked. 200 more Vorthon vessels just dropped out of faster-than-light travel." Jake looked at the screen. The new alien ships were even bigger than the first group. These were heavy battle cruisers and dreadnoughts, the kind of ships the Vorthon Empire used to destroy entire star systems. Their hulls were covered in weapons that could turn planets into dust. 500 ships now, Rick Stone said quietly. "Captain, even with our quantum lock drive, that's a lot of firepower." "Maybe," Jake said, "but they still can't hit what they can't understand. All weapons prepare to engage the new targets." The fresh Vorthon ships moved into attack position. Their commander, a different alien called War Leader Morak, sent a message to the Defiance human ship. I am War Leader Morak of the 7th 4th in Battle Fleet. War Prime tells me you have some kind of trick that makes you hard to hit. Tricks do not work against superior numbers. Surrender now. No, Jake replied. War Leader Morak's response was to order his entire fleet to fire at once. 200 ships launched everything they had. Plasma cannons, missile volleys, energy, torpedoes, and weapons Jake didn't even recognize filled space with deadly light. It was enough firepower to destroy a moon. All of it passed harmlessly through the Defiance. Jake felt the ship vibrate slightly as some shots hit other dimensional versions of his vessel, but the main ship remained untouched. The quantum lock drive was working perfectly, keeping them safe in dimensions the aliens couldn't reach. Our turn, Jake said. Rick, fire everything. The Defiance unleashed its full power for the first time. Quantum torpedoes and plasma beams erupted from weapons ports that existed in 19 different dimensions. To the Vorthon fleet, it looked like the attacks came from everywhere at once, from above, below, behind, and from angles that hurt their brains to think about. 30 alien ships exploded in the first salvo. The quantum weapons didn't just destroy the ships they hit directly. They also damaged vessels in nearby dimensions, creating chain reactions of destruction that spread through the enemy fleet like a disease. War Leader Morak's voice crackled over the radio. What kind of demons are you? The kind that protects human colonies, Jake answered. But something new was happening. Sergeant Major Tony Rodriguez, who commanded the ship's marine units, called up to the bridge from the troop bay. Captain, something strange is going on down here. My Marines are reporting that they feel different, like they're in multiple places at once, just like the ship. Dr. Wong's eyes went wide as he checked his readings. Captain, the quantum field is affecting the crew now. We're not just piloting a ship that exists in multiple dimensions. We're becoming multidimensional ourselves. Is that dangerous? Jake asked. I don't know, but it means we can do things no human has ever done before. Jake made a decision. Tony, take your Marines and try something. See if you can board one of those alien ships. Sir, how do we get from here to there? They're thousands of miles away. Just try walking toward them. Trust the quantum field. Sergeant Major Rodriguez and his 20 Marines went to the ship's airlocks, but instead of putting on spacesuits, they simply opened the doors and stepped out into space. The quantum field around the Defiance kept them alive and let them move through dimensions like they were walking down a hallway. The Marines appeared directly inside a Voran battleship. One moment they were on the Defiance, the next moment they were standing in the alien vessel's engine room. The Voran crew didn't even see them coming because the humans had stepped through dimensions the aliens didn't know existed. The Marines destroyed the ship's power systems and disappeared again, reappearing back on the Defiance. The alien battleship went dark and drifted helplessly in space. War Prime Thzul and War Leader Morak watched in horror as human soldiers appeared and disappeared like ghosts, striking at ships throughout their fleet. The aliens had weapons that could destroy planets, but they couldn't fight enemies who could walk through walls and exist in multiple places at once. This is not war, War Prime said over the radio. His voice was full of despair. This is something beyond war. You are not fighting us. You are haunting us. More Vorthon ships exploded or went dark as the Defiance continued its impossible attack. The alien fleet that had seemed so powerful an hour ago was now running in terror from a single human vessel. Jake Morrison sat in his captain's chair and watched his enemies flee. For the first time in human history, it was the aliens who were afraid. The USS Defiance had become something new, something the galaxy had never seen before. A ship and crew that existed beyond the normal rules of space and time. And this was only the beginning. 3 days after the impossible battle at Kepler System, Captain Jake Morrison stood in his ready room reading reports that seemed like science fiction. The news of what happened was spreading across the galaxy faster than anyone had expected. Every alien species with communication technology had heard about the human ship that existed in multiple dimensions and defeated 500 Vorthon vessels without taking a single hit. Commander Kate Murphy, his intelligence officer, walked into the room with a data pad full of intercepted alien messages. She was a smart woman with red hair who had spent years learning alien languages and cultures. Now her face showed a mix of excitement and worry. Captain, you need to see these reports. Every major alien government is talking about us. The Zephyrian Trade Federation called an emergency meeting. The Krillian hive mind sent scouts to investigate. Even the Stellar Republic, who usually ignore everyone, are asking questions. Jake took the datapad and read through the translated messages. Most of them were full of fear and confusion. Alien military leaders were trying to understand how humans had built a ship that broke the basic laws of physics. Some messages talked about surrender. Others discussed forming alliances with humanity before it was too late. What about the Vorthon Empire? Jake asked. War Prime. Thexel sent a message to their home world. He told them that fighting humans is now impossible. He recommended that the entire empire should consider peace talks with Earth. Jake shook his head in amazement. The Fourth Hand Empire had been humanity's worst enemy for 20 years. They had burned human colonies and eaten human prisoners. Now they were talking about peace because of one battle. Admiral Sam Carter's face appeared on the communication screen. The old admiral looked tired but pleased. Behind him, Jake could see other high-ranking officers from Earth Command. Captain Morrison, congratulations on an impossible victory. The entire human military is studying your battle reports. We're already starting construction on 12 more quantum lock ships based on your success. Thank you, Admiral. But I think we need to be careful. The aliens are scared, but scared enemies can be dangerous in new ways. You're right to be cautious. That's why I'm sending you on a new mission. We've received a challenge from the Krillian hive mind. They want to test their bioships against your quantum technology. They're gathering a fleet near the Titan Nebula. Jake knew about the Krillian hive mind. They were a species that grew their ships instead of building them. Their vessels were alive, covered in organic armor that could heal itself, and weapons that fired living creatures instead of energy beams. Human weapons had always been useless against their biology. How many ships are they bringing? Our scouts report about 100 Krillian biohips, their largest fleet in 50 years. Captain, this could be even more important than the Vorthon battle. If you can defeat the Krillians, every alien species in the galaxy will know that human technology works against any enemy. The communication ended, and Jake called his senior officers to the bridge. Lisa Barnes checked her engineering systems while Dr. Alex Wong studied the quantum lock drive readings. The ship had been growing stronger since the battle. The quantum field now extended further from the hull, and the crew could phase in and out of dimensions with increasing ease. How are we handling the new abilities? Jake asked Dr. Wong. Better than expected, Captain. The crew is adapting to multi-dimensional existence faster than any of our theories predicted. Sergeant Major Rodriguez's Marines can now phase directly through enemy hulls and appear anywhere they want inside a ship. Our weapons can strike targets from up to 23 different dimensional angles. And the ship itself, Lisa Barnes, smiled. The Defiance is becoming something new every day. The quantum lock drive is evolving, learning from each battle. We now exist in 26-dimensional states simultaneously. I think the ship is becoming truly multidimensional, not just visiting other dimensions, but actually living in them. 2 days later, the USS Defiance arrived at the Titan Nebula. The space around them was filled with colorful gas clouds that made the stars look like distant jewels. Floating in the middle of this beauty was the strangest fleet Jake had ever seen. The Krillian biohips looked like giant sea creatures swimming through space. Their hulls pulsed with life covered in what looked like skin instead of metal. Some ships had tentacles that moved slowly through the vacuum. Others had rows of eyes that tracked the Defiance's movement. The largest vessel looked like a massive whale with weapons ports that opened and closed like breathing gills. "Captain, they're trying to communicate," said the communications officer. The main screen filled with an image unlike anything human eyes had seen before. The Krillian speaker was a collection of small creatures that moved together to form a larger being. When it spoke, hundreds of small voices joined together to make one sound. "Human vessel. We are many who think as one of the Krillian hive mind. We have heard stories of your battle with the metal shipbuilders. Our living vessels do not follow the same rules as metal and energy. We exist in harmony with the universe itself. Your dimension tricks will not work against life." Jake stood up and faced the alien collective. "We'll see about that. You will see nothing but defeat. Our ships heal themselves. Our weapons are alive and think for themselves. Our hulls adapt to any attack. Metal ships with metal weapons cannot harm us. This is why we have never lost a battle. We're not just metal ships anymore," Jake replied. The Krillian fleet attacked first. Their bioships fired living projectiles that looked like glowing fish swimming through space. These creatures sought out the Defiance with intelligent movement, trying to burrow into the hull and eat the ship from inside. But the living weapons passed harmlessly through the Defiance, just like the Vorthon plasma beams had. The ship existed in 26 dimensions, and the Krillian bioweapons could only attack in normal space. The alien creatures swam around in confusion, unable to find a target that was there but not there at the same time. "Impossible," came the collective voice of many who think as one. "Living weapons adapt to any defense. They should be able to touch you." "Life follows rules," Jake said. "We exist beyond rules." The Defiance fired back with quantum weapons that struck the bioships from multiple dimensional angles. The aliens had been right about one thing. Their ships could heal themselves from normal damage. But quantum-phased energy didn't just damage the ships in normal space. It attacked them in dimensions where biological healing couldn't work. Krillian biohips began to die in ways they had never experienced before. Their living hulls withered as quantum energy struck them in spaces their biology couldn't understand or defend against. The creatures that formed their weapons went insane trying to process attacks that came from everywhere and nowhere at once. In less than an hour, the entire Krillian fleet was defeated. Some ships fled back to their home territory. Others drifted dead in space, their biological systems unable to cope with multi-dimensional warfare. Many who think as one sent one final message before their command ship retreated. "We do not understand what you have become. You are no longer the species we studied. You are something new in the galaxy." Jake Morrison watched the alien fleet disappear into faster-than-light travel. Two major alien powers had now faced the quantum-locked human ship, and both had been completely defeated. Word of these victories would spread across the galaxy, even faster than before. The age of human dominance was beginning, and it was happening because of technology so advanced that alien species couldn't even comprehend how to fight it. 6 months after the battle with the Krillian hive mind, Captain Jake Morrison stood in the largest meeting room aboard the USS Defiance. The room had been built for human officers, but today it was filled with aliens. Representatives from dozens of different species sat around a table that had been extended to accommodate beings of all shapes and sizes. Warp Prime. Thule sat to Jake's right. The powerful Vorthon leader looked smaller somehow, less frightening than he had during their first battle. His forearms rested quietly on the table, and his black eyes showed respect instead of hatred. Next to him sat Ambassador Krillian from the Zephyrian Trade Federation, a blue-kinned woman with silver hair who spoke for one of the galaxy's richest civilizations. At the far end of the table, a collection of small creatures moved together to form the shape that was many who think as one from the Krillian hive mind. Even the proud Stellar Republic had sent a representative, a tall golden being who rarely spoke but watched everything with intelligent eyes. "Let me be very clear about why we are here," said Ambassador Helen Clark, the human diplomat who had arrived on the Defiance 3 days ago. She was a middle-aged woman with gray hair and a calm voice that somehow commanded attention from every alien in the room. "You have all requested this meeting. We did not ask you to come." War Prime spoke first. "Ambassador Clark, Captain Morrison, the Vorthon Empire formally surrenders to humanity. We offer complete submission to human authority." Jake had been expecting this, but hearing it spoken aloud still felt strange. The Vorthon Empire had ruled over 40 systems and controlled the largest military force in the known galaxy. Now they were giving up without conditions. "We do not want your surrender," Ambassador Clark replied. "We want peace. Peace is impossible while you possess ships like this," said Ambassador Krillian, gesturing toward the walls around them. "The quantum-locked technology makes conventional warfare meaningless. No species can fight an enemy that exists in multiple dimensions simultaneously." Many who think as one spoke with their collective voice. "We have studied the battle records from both conflicts. The Defiance did not just win these fights. It made them impossible for us to lose. Our weapons, our defenses, our strategies, none of them work against multidimensional attacks." The golden representative from the Stellar Republic finally spoke. His voice was musical, like wind chimes in a gentle breeze. "The balance of power in the galaxy has changed permanently. Humanity now possesses technology that no other species can match or counter. The question is, what you will do with this advantage?" Ambassador Clark looked around the table at the alien faces watching her. "What we will do is protect human colonies and trade routes. We will defend our friends and allies." We will not conquer other species or force them to obey us. But you could, Warp Prime said quietly. That is what makes this situation so dangerous. The Voran Empire conquered others because we could. Humans now have power beyond anything we ever possessed. Why would you not use it? Jake Morrison spoke for the first time during the meeting because that's not who we are. We built the Defiance to protect our colonies from your attacks. We didn't build it to become conquerors. Dr. Alex Wong walked into the meeting room and whispered something to Jake. The captain's face became serious as he listened to the report. When Dr. Wong finished speaking, Jake looked around the table. I have news that you all need to hear. Earth Command has finished construction on 12 more quantum lock ships. The USS Challenger, the USS Guardian, the USS Horizon, and 9 others are now operational. Each one is as powerful as the Defiance. The aliens at the table looked at each other with expressions that mixed fear with resignation. 13 human ships that could each defeat entire alien fleets. The galaxy had truly entered a new age. Ambassador Keelther leaned forward. Captain Morrison, Ambassador Clark, the Zephyrian Trade Federation wishes to formally request an alliance with humanity. We offer our commercial networks, our financial resources, and our friendship in exchange for protection under your quantum lock fleet. The Krillian hive mind also requests alliance, said many who think as one. We offer our biological knowledge and our growth technologies to serve human interests. One by one, every alien representative at the table made similar offers. Some offered military cooperation. Others provided scientific knowledge or trade agreements. All of them wanted to be on humanity's side rather than risk being its enemy. The Golden Stellar Republic representative was the last to speak. The Republic has existed for 3,000 years. We have seen many species rise to power and fall again. But we have never seen technology that changes the fundamental nature of warfare itself. Humanity has not just become more powerful. You have transcended the limitations that define military conflict. Ambassador Clark nodded thoughtfully. We appreciate all of your offers, but understand this. We will not rule over you. We will not demand tribute or force you to change your governments. We want to build a galaxy where different species can coexist peacefully. And if some species refuse to accept peace, asked War Prime Thexel, Jake Morrison answered, then they will face the Quantum Lock Fleet. We won't start wars, but we will finish them. Hours later, the alien representatives had returned to their ships and departed for their home systems. Jake stood on the bridge of the Defiance, watching the stars through the main window. The ship hummed quietly around him, existing in 31-dimensional states. Now, the quantum lock drive had continued to evolve, becoming more powerful with each passing day. Lisa Barnes walked up beside him. Captain, we're receiving a message from Admiral Carter. He wants to know our next assignment. Tell him we're ready for anything, Jake replied. The galaxy is a big place, and there are still species out there who think they can challenge humanity. Commander Kate Murphy checked her intelligence reports. Captain, there are rumors of a new threat forming in the Outer Rim. Some kind of ancient machine civilization that's been dormant for thousands of years. If they wake up and decide humans are a threat, then they'll learn the same lesson everyone else has learned. Jake said, You don't fight humanity anymore. You either join us or you get out of our way. The USS Defiance turned toward deep space, followed by its sister ships that had arrived to patrol other sectors. Across the galaxy, alien civilizations were adapting to a new reality. Humanity was no longer the young species struggling to survive among older, more powerful races. They were the species that other civilizations feared and respected. They were the ones who had broken the rules of physics and warfare itself. They were the guardians of a new galactic order where peace was maintained not through treaties or threats, but through technology so advanced that fighting it was simply impossible. Captain Jake Morrison smiled as he watched the stars ahead. The quantum-locked human fleet was spreading across the galaxy, carrying a simple message to every species they encountered. Humanity had arrived, and the universe would never be the same again.